Well, YouTube, someone requested a Forge update and a possible run. And although I can't run it this very minute, I thought I would at least give you an update and also help him create his own. So, first I'll give you an update on mine. And this is his, so I'll come back to that later. If you haven't previously seen this, I took the best of both worlds and did a lawnmower deck forge and a brake rotor drum forge. I love the idea of having, I need to tighten that up, having a lawnmower deck worth of space, but I really didn't like how you couldn't get these lawnmower decks up to temp as hot as a brake rotor or drum forge because they would start melting. So I was originally going to put a drum in here, but that 93 Ford Ranger got its rotors changed, and I just had one of these, and so I used it. Let me see here. So basically your main fire is going to be here. Obviously you're having air blown up through this inch, I think that's inch. Yeah, that's an inch hole or pipe, and also you kind of have airflow here too. See these little vents? They go all the way through. So that's nice. So the majority of the fire is going to be here. I can have some maybe unburnt coals back here. I haven't done a ton on this. I'm sorry. I really need to. Here's my piece I need to cut out. My drill or my saw broke, so I gotta get that fixed out. It goes on this. No, it goes on this way. This piece goes here, and I still gotta cut it. That's why it hasn't been attached yet. It goes on like this. And once I have the sides cut off where the Sharpie lines are, it's just going to make like a little work spot. It won't hang over and it will look kind of nice. And then I'll also put a little wall here so it doesn't, the coals don't get under there. I might leave it open. And then I have another one which I haven't the slightest idea where it's at right now. Not a clue. But, it's anyhow going to mount this way, so I have like a little bucket right in here. Same metal, it's actually the same piece of metal, it's just, I cut that in half a while back. I don't even know where I've put that, it was over there somewhere. I remember slipping on it on my steam engine while I was working on it and threw it somewhere. I don't know where it went. Anyway, so I do need to do that. This is just scraps of pipes left over. This is the size pipe I use. This is just, it's actually thicker once you get down. It's just this inch diameter. This is an inch and a half because it had to go through the bearing. These are just the handles off the lawnmower deck. They were a little bit rounded on the edges just because of the kind of lawnmower I use, so I needed to put one in the back. So this is just a piece of metal I had laying around. It's a little bit flimsy up top. I would like to brace it against here. And that would make it a lot stronger. But it doesn't let it just doesn't let it wiggle as much. Now, in a forge you might be heating up a long piece of metal. So this hole up here is actually an advantage. So you can walk around and stick something in. And then heat it up because the fire's right here. And these two things, by the way, just hold down the rotor so it doesn't come out. That isn't going anywhere. Now down below, here's the part that really needs work, because I could burn it right now. This wiggles just because that's a bearing. That's not going to matter, though, because it's all mounted. What I do need to do is put an end cap here, and then somehow splice it where I have a piece of pipe coming off here at a 90 and have some sort of blower to it. Was planning on, this is the diameter pipe I'm using right now, the 2-inch. My thinnest I got is some inch, but I could maybe use the 1.5 and drill a hole. So then put it up in there, and probably wouldn't solder it, that would melt. I don't know how I would attach it, but I would put it in there somehow and then have I was thinking a hairdryer, like a nicer hairdryer blowing up in there. But I'm going to a junkyard here pretty soon and might try to get a old turbocharger, rip the exhaust side off and put a motor on it, and then that would be a very good blower. But I might just fire it up without a blower this weekend and just have a fire in it. It's a shame I don't have a blower around. Yeah, so that's about it for my forge. So now I'll go on to his forge. The person I'm helping doesn't have a lawnmower deck laying around and really isn't sure too much about what he wants to do yet. So, but he does have brake drums off of, I think he said, a 70s van. So, what my quick sketch of a drawing is to obviously have the brake drum facing up. Then, off of that, have a floor flange, which that's the piece that it's like a piece of pipe that has a round piece of flat metal here with a hole in the middle and 4 bolt holes. So you can basically bolt a pipe to a wall or a piece of wood. Lots of times they use it on toilets, I believe, going into the floor. So the floor flange, then that would give you, the best size to use is 2-inch or bigger. So I would go with 2-inch pipe, threaded pipe, just basically like the stuff I've been using on the steam engine, like... Maybe I'll see that piece of metal while I'm over here too. This will work right here. Like this, except this is double the diameter is what you would use. So then you would have 2-inch pipe going into the floor flange going down to a T-joint, which that just splits it into 3. On the side coming off you would have some sort of blower. I just drew I don't even know what kind of shape that is. Just drew a blower. Just hair dryer, turbocharger. Lots of people have. There is actually forge blowers, but whatever works. And then have at the bottom, and this is actually an important part. Off the bottom of the T, you want to have another pipe, but it has to have an end cap on it. So this end cap basically it lets the air not flow out while you're using it, but when you're not using it, it lets you unscrew it. If I could, I can't do it with one hand. And dump the ashes, because the ashes are all going to fall down into this hole. By the way, that is 1-inch diameter pipe because of this. So, anyhow, as for a base, the easiest thing to do, because the brake drum is obviously going to be flat on the bottom, is probably take some just metal, just find some sort of metal, and build up just a square frame, and you'd want to have some decent braces on it. But honestly, the easiest thing to do is ask around, see if you can get a lawnmower deck. This one I got for free because the wheel holes were rusted out. This is a mid-70s Murray lawnmower deck. I was ashamed I had to burn it up. This is a classic, but it is what it is. The money, I would have to weld a new plate of metal on and then re-drill all the holes, and it was just too much work for me to have 3 other lawnmower decks sitting under the house. But if you can get a lawnmower deck, you can use the handles like I did to make a feet. Then you got a big old hole in the middle, and you can set your drum on top of it and attach it and then do your floor flange just like I did. That's honestly one of the cheapest routes that I could think of if you don't have a welder and you can't really build a custom table for it. You could always set it up between 2 or 3 cinder blocks, but that's rickety and it's not permanent. So I really like this idea. You know, if you need any help, let me know. You know who you are. But anyway, this is some basic forge info from a dummy, because I don't know much about this. But one other side note on forges, this is some information I picked